Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with part 1 of my makeup collection series. This is going to be my palettes, quads, and trios video. I was going to do lippies originally, and I actually posted on Instagram that I was going to do a lippies collection video for you guys today. And as you can see, my hand's a little bit red because I had been swatching, and I got about 10 minutes into the video and I was like, this was a really bad idea. This entire extra large makeup case bag thing is full of my lippies by itself, and plus I still have some out on my vanity. So I think I'm gonna wait until I get to Florida and get my storage figured out, and then do my lippies for my last video, and then I'll just do my eye makeup and everything, my face makeup for you guys for the first couple videos for the first couple of weeks. So I'm gonna do one collection video every week so I'm not killing myself each day trying to get it done. So this week will be the palettes, and next week will be probably single eyeshadows. These are going to be just the palette form makeup products that I have, the quad forms and the trio form. Grab a snack. I'm going to start things off with the Sephora On The Go palette, and it is a large palette at first. I'm not sure if that's the exact name of this palette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the information down in the description box for you guys. If you like this palette and you can try to find it again, I hope you guys can find it because it's actually one of my favorite palettes in my collection. The mirror itself on this palette is to die for. It's a full-sized gargantuan mirror, which is awesome. The idea for this palette is they come with 3 different mini palettes, and then it comes with a case for each of the mini palettes. So you can either bring this entire palette on its own and just carry it with you, and it's a very sturdy, very hard plastic material, so it's going to be safe. Or you can pop out one of these and bring it with you wherever you want. It's really, really cool. And what makes this even better is the little palette also has a huge mirror in it. So this is the inside of the little palette. As you can see, it's a very large mirror, and there's a little area here where you poke your finger up and it pops it out, and the palettes all snap in securely and they do not budge from this palette. So this is a very, very handy palette to have. It was $15 on the Sephora website and is on sale, so I'm not sure if it's discontinued or not, or what the deal is, but I hope it's not so you guys can get it. I do love this palette a lot. I'll give you guys a quick little look at a swatch here. This is my favorite shade out of all of them. Look at that gorgeous blue. And I'll just put it on my hand for you guys to see. Look at that. That's amazing. That's without primer. So trust me, this palette is something you want to have in your collection. The next palette I have is this Urban Decay Book of Shadows Redux Edition palette, and I love this palette a lot. So the idea is you flip it up, and it actually came with a nice size little mirror there, but I do not like these butterflies in the way. It's a very pretty packaging, I will say that. They have this like 3D butterfly crap in here, but it does make it kind of hard to close the actual palette completely. But I'm not too worried about it though, because the actual palette is underneath this level. It's right here. So for the most part, it's pretty much protected. But what made this palette truly unique and very cool was what came with it. And obviously it came with a mascara and an eyeliner, which was really, really nice. I did enjoy those, and I used them all up within like the first 2.5 weeks. But it also came with this little square thing that sat right in the space here. And there was 2 wires in the actual palette slot. So I did some research, and no one could quite figure out what the hell it was, and everyone said that it was useless and no one wanted it, so they just kind of threw it away and stuff in a couple videos that I watched. But it was pretty obvious as to what it was. It was a speaker for your phone. So the idea was your phone would sit in this little slot right here, as you can see, and the speaker would connect to your phone while it's sitting here, and you would put the actual speaker in this little slot here, and it would serve as a speaker. So when the palette is out, the music would play through here and make it loud. So it was a really cool palette idea. I'll put the link in my description box to the video that I made of the review and the swatches and all that kind of stuff for this palette below, because I did do an in-depth review of this palette. Plus you get to see the actual speakers in work. So this is what the palette looks like, and this has 16 eyeshadows. My favorite shade out of all of them is this one right here in Psychedelic Sister, and I'll swatch that quickly for you guys so you guys can see it, and it's right there. It's a beautiful, beautiful, sparkly, shimmery purple shade. One thing I will say is that this palette does not have any matte shadows, so if you don't like shimmery shadows, you're not going to like this palette, unfortunately. But honestly, these shades are all gorgeous. The next palette that I have is my BH Cosmetics 2nd edition 120 color eyeshadow palette. This was my very first ever palette purchase, ever, and I honestly love it. Obviously the colors in it are extravagant. You have your yellows, reds, neutrals, pinks, blues, greens, you name it, you have the shade in this palette. The mirror, however, to me is a little bit I don't like it. It's not big enough for me. With a palette this size, with all this extra room, I mean, what are you going to use it for? It doesn't make any sense. I would have put a full-size mirror, but you know what? It is what it is. The next one is my Eyes Lips Face Day to Night palette. This palette, honestly, I don't need it because I have a similar one with my BH Cosmetics one, but for my excuse, there are different shades from every company, so I want to have as many shades as I possibly can, so I have every shade in the world, because no two shades are the same, right? This is what I'm talking about for a mirror. Full-sized, covers the entire top layer of this palette. I love it. So it's the same idea as a palette as the BH Cosmetics one. There's 2 levels to it. So this first top level has the more, cool tone shades here. You got some greens, pinks, purples, blues, neutrals. It's all over the place. And the second level is more neutrals, and you just have little accent colors throughout the palette. So I use predominantly this top row here for the most part, and now incorporate some of the purples because I love purple eyeshadows. So yeah, that is this palette. This beautiful thing is the Riches Back palette from Matthew Williamson for Benefit. I love Benefit's packaging. It's so beautiful and it catches the eye so easily because it's so colorful. I got it for $19 on the Sephora website. It was on sale. So this is the inside of it. It has a nice size mirror here, and it also comes with a blush, and then it comes with a They're Real mascara, and then an Inferno lip gloss, which is actually very, very pigmented, very tinted too. So, and these 4 shades here are absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love the pigmentation of these. They're long wearing, they're not powdery, they're just very creamy and just so, I don't know, they're just so amazing. I love these shades. This blush, by the way, smells amazing. I think all Benefit's blushes smell absolutely gorgeous. These, of course, are the Wet n Wild Color Icon 8 pans. I adore these palettes. These palettes are perfect for anybody who is a beginner in the makeup world. They come with tutorials in the back of where to put each of the shades to get different looks, and the pigmentation of these is outstanding, and they're super inexpensive. So I have this one in the shade Petal Pusher, which is all my purples, very cool tone blues and everything, and this one is in Comfort Zone, which is more of the neutrals and greens. So yeah. Going into the trio, so this first one is called Knock on Wood, and it's just a really pretty, like, purpley mauve trio. I love these. Very inexpensive. This one is called Cool as a Cucumber. I call this one my Hulk one, because Hulk is green and he has purple pants. This is the one in the One Spoiled Brat. This one will open, but this is in the shade Walking on Eggshells. This one is called Silent Treatment. This one is a 5 pan, which is really different from Wet n Wild. This is called the Naked Truth one. And then my other 8 pan that I have is a limited edition one. This is in the shade Fa La 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 La. And it looks like this. It's all glitter. Look how gorgeous it is. So pretty. Dollar Tree is a great place to find hidden gems that have been discontinued in, say, Walmart, Target, places like that. And this is a good example of that. So this is the Positions Formula Baked S'mores Matte Wet to Dry Eyeshadow. I love this little palette. They're so pigmented, and for $1 as opposed to the $10 you would have paid for this, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. This is my Maybelline Expert Wear Quad in the shade Amethyst Smokes. These are 2 of my NYC HD Color Eye Trios, and this one here is called Central Park Plums, and this one's called Bronze in Brooklyn. This one's a little bit dry for me. It doesn't really do well swatch, so I'm not going to swatch these for you guys. But they were very inexpensive, so you can't beat. I think they were 99 cents each. These are 2 of my Jessie's Girl palettes. The one on the bottom is called Tickled Pink, and the one up top is called Brown Eyed Girl. This is my NYX Smoky palette. I don't really like this palette. I'm not sure if this is just a, bummed out palette. I'm not sure. But I do keep it around because this shade right here is my go-to brow highlight shade a lot of the times when I do my eyeshadows in a very smoky way. But for the most part, the pigmentation of this palette was very unimpressive. This is my LA Colors eyeshadow palette in the shade Traditional. This palette, honestly, and any palette from LA Colors will honestly surprise you. They're so pigmented. The only downside is they smell like baby powder. These are two of my e.l.f. brightening eye color quads. The top one is in Butternut and the bottom one is in Ocean Dreams. These eyeshadows are very, very pigmented and very, very creamy actually. It was really surprising how great these are, especially for the $1 price tag. Two more of the brightening eye quads. The top one is in Drama and the bottom one is in Nouveau Neutrals. These are two of my NYC Individualize palettes. This one here, the purple one, is in Soho Grand, and this other one here is in Smoky Browns. I honestly do not like these. The packaging obviously is an issue, because you can see here, there's a perfect example. I've had the one on the left here for quite a while now, and I do not think it was the smartest idea to not put a covering over the two cream products here. This is a concealer and this is a highlight actually, and it just becomes an issue because these are actually very, very powdery, and as you can see they can get into the creams and just make them just awful looking. So, but other than that, these are very pigmented and I do like these a lot, and they're really inexpensive. I think they're like $2.99 each, which is, like I said, very, very inexpensive. This is my Almay palette, and this one is catered more for hazel eyes. This entire line of these trios are all meant specifically for certain eye colors. So this is the one again for hazel eyes. I would have gotten one for brown, but the one I have for brown was actually pretty ugly. These are not very good if they're not wet, if they're not used wet. For the most part, the pigmentation is not really good, but honestly, the look you get from using this palette is very, very nice. e.l.f. is a great place to buy your own small palettes and build them yourself. They have their own little single pans of eyeshadow, and this is my neutral one. I don't have any other colors as for right now, but I will in the long run eventually. I paid $2.50 for the palette itself and the 4 pans. They were on sale. Each pan itself usually costs $1, but I got them on sale for 50 cents. So it was a very good deal, and I'm always shopping on e.l.f.'s website when they have, especially their 50% off sale. This is my Hard Candy Christmas eyeshadow palette. I got this in one of the newer the kits that I got this past haul that I did. So yeah, as you can see, nothing in here is matte, so that'll be a little bit of an issue. These eyeshadows are not that creamy at all. They're actually quite dry and powdery, but with the right primer and just a spritz of the e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set, these turn instantaneously beautiful. This is my Maybelline The Nudes palette. This was recently acquired. I absolutely love this palette. The pigmentation of these is outstanding. They're super creamy, super pigmented, and they are long wearing as well, and they only get even more pigmented with the right primer. I love this palette. This is one of my e.l.f. palettes. It's recently acquired and I forgot the name of it, but I'll put it with the link in the description box for you guys to find it if you do like it. The pigmentation of these eyeshadows is outstanding, especially with a primer. These look honestly like anything that Urban Decay would put out. I love the pigmentation of these eyeshadows, and they're so long wearing and gorgeous. There are a couple of matte shades, a nice decent mix of matte and shimmer. So yes, this is my Coastal Scents Go palette in the shade Paris. I got this in my BoxyCharm box, and honestly, look how gorgeous this is. It's absolutely stunning. The pigmentation of these shadows is outstanding, with and without primer, wet or dry. They're just out of this world. This is my e.l.f. Shimmer palette, and it is in the shade Sheer Sunrise. And the idea behind this palette is if you have any eyeshadow that is matte but you want to make it shimmer, just go ahead and put this over it and it'll make any matte eyeshadow shimmer. This is the Tarte Beauty and the Box Amazonian Clay eyeshadow quad. This reminds me of the Benefit blushes, but I got this in one of my first Sephora hauls and I absolutely love it. Look at the colors you get in this. It's really pretty. The only issue is it's so hard not to transfer over the different colors into each other because there's no separation between the shades, but quite frankly, if you just wet the brush and you just go ahead and go to the particular shade that you want, it really isn't that messy, and they're very pigmented. This camera does not give this product justice. This is the pinkest pink you'll ever see. This is my Victoria's Secret Deluxe Eye Palette in the shade Inspired. I wish I was able to see this palette before I bought it, because look at the color selection you have in this. There really isn't much going here. You have one pink shade that's shimmery. Everything in this is shimmery. There's not one matte shade in this, and there's not much of a collection here for any different looks. So it really is a dead end palette, but honestly the packaging, I mean, look at this, rose gold and hot pink, it looks gorgeous. This is my Makeup Forever Wild and Chic eyeshadow palette. I love this palette so much. Decent sized mirror here, and it comes with really, really pretty, very hyper pigmented shades. It did come with an Aqua Eyes eyeliner, but I used it up already, much like every eyeliner I get in every palette that I ever own. I love these shadows, especially this terracotta orange here, this burnt orange. Looks absolutely stunning with my eye color, and it just brightens my eyes up beautifully. These are two of the e.l.f. baked eyeshadows. The top one is in Seattle, and the bottom one is in California. This one is my favorite because it's just a neutral toned one. This one's more of a cool tone blues. I love these palettes. These are to die for. They're a little expensive for e.l.f., but the pigmentation of them is absolutely amazing. With the brush being wet, these go off so hyper pigmented and they last so long. They're just so, they look like little planets, don't they? They're so cute. This is the Prism eyeshadow palette from e.l.f., and this is in the shade Smoke. This is $10, and it comes with 6 shades. But let me tell you something. These are so pigmented. Look at that. I mean, look. You cannot, it's to die for. Wet, they're even more pigmented. These are just absolutely beautifully formulated. I'm so excited about these. I would pay more than that for this palette because they're so amazing. I think there's 2 other ones you can get. One's in Sunrise and one's in Natural, but this one is just, it's gorgeous. This is the e.l.f. Backpack Mini Palette. As you can see here, it's a nice size mirror here, and it also has 8 shades here that are really, really pigmented, a cheek color, and then you have 4 lip colors. So this is like for little girls who are going to school, or high school girls who don't want to bring an entire palette with them, and they don't want to bring any lippies with them. They have everything in this one little palette. I think it was like $6 or $3 in sales. So this is my Victoria's Secret Spring Lights eye palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. 3 different eye looks you can achieve. It did come with a primer and an eyeliner, but I just didn't want to use it. So I use this one predominantly because I love this taupey shade here for a base color. They just blend out really nicely, but I will say not as pigmented as I'd like them to be. Even with the primer, they're actually quite kind of weird looking with a primer, but I love the packaging and my Naked Basics palette that has been seriously destroyed. So this thing has been used so much, as you can see. You can tell which ones I use the most out of everything. So yeah. These are 2 of my 32 pan eyeshadow palettes from e.l.f. This bottom one here is an Everyday, and then this top one up here is called Natural. These are super pigmented, so nice, so creamy, long wearing. They're just some of the best eyeshadows you're going to find. Honestly, I think NYX eyeshadows are nothing compared to e.l.f. eyeshadows, and e.l.f. costs so much less than what NYX does. So yes, very, very nice palette. The next palette that I have for you guys is my Eyes Lips Face 96 piece eyeshadow palette, and it's geometric, which is really cool. I love this like pattern they have here. They're so nice, so creamy, so pigmented, long wearing, not powdery at all. They're just so gorgeous, these eyeshadows. And look at the color selection you have. You not only have these bigger pans here, but you have these small little intricate ones in the middle of it, and it's just, it's so cool. I love it. I love it so much. I have my Lorac Co palette, which I've hit pan on 2 shades, on cream and on mauve. Love it. And I also have my Naked 2 palette, which the black shade has seen its last day. I mean, it completely broke. But everything else is intact. We've made it to the end. This is the Hard Candy Christmas or Holiday Edition palette. I have yet to break into this one yet, but I've done swatches of this as well. I will have a full review of this product on my channel for you guys, but I'm going to give you a close-up of everything. So these shadows are very, very nice. You have a nice, large selection. And it also comes with an eye primer, and then you have 2 pencils and an applicator, and then 2 blushes. That is it for my palette collection, guys. I hope this was not too boring for you guys. My arm, honestly, I have muscle now. If I didn't have any muscle before, I have it now because doing this and just all this movement, I got my workout for today, I think. So that is all for you guys for today. I will see you guys in my next video. Until next time, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.